We are the first African generation to do business.
It's just simply doable. Even though it's in deep dark Africa, it's doable.
We must do it better than anybody else because we are the best.
This is mind-blowing. Welcome to the March Zambia, and we're all looking pretty geared up. If you're feeling a bit hot, hey, you can actually just take. Well, I actually started off as a rafting guide myself, working on the Zambezi River, and that's when I realized that there was a lot more to life, really, than just being a hoo-ha rafting guide or surfing type of character. I wanted more, and the only way of getting out of that was to start my own company. A lot of African people have not been exposed to adventure travel. This is all very new in this part of the world, and I think I am the only African that is out here operating an adventure activity company. Touch Adventure is a very small, dynamic company. We emphasize what we call hardcore adventure activities, for example, the whitewater rafting, which happens to be our main product. And then we also have the soft core adventure activities.
He's just staring at it.
Our main vision of this business is to run personalized trips. We're not huge fans of big groups and queues. We take them out there on exclusive personalized activities. My business specifically operates in Zambia. However, in Zimbabwe, we also have a sales outlet. The Zambezi River is a Class 5 river. You do expect to fall out, you do expect the boat to also flip. But however, the Zambezi River, being such a large volume river, your main worry out there is just water. So rocks are the least that you've got to worry about. Most people think that Victoria Falls is in Zimbabwe, but it actually borders both Zimbabwe and Zambia. I'm a Zimbabwean, been living in Zimbabwe all my life. Quite frankly, Zimbabwe, as far as tourism is concerned, they are 10 paces ahead to Zambia. They've been at it for such a long time and therefore also have the experience and the infrastructure. My name is Ndab, I'm calling you from Touch Adventure. However, at the time of starting my business, I was having quite a lot of implications with the Zimbabwe national parks in getting registered, which in a way I found as a blessing in disguise, because I realized the political differences that were occurring and less international travelers coming to Zimbabwe. They introduced a program called a redistribution of land. It wasn't working as according to plan. Things got out of hand and hence the decline in international travel. Zambia was capitalizing on that, going out marketing, boosting tourism and adventure travel. When we talk about the adventure activities, the hardcore, you're looking at very, very adrenaline-oriented sport.
She's still shaking.
So this is the main attachment, and the backup is from the full body.
Certainly the travel of today is so different from even 10 years ago.
It's going to hook you up here.
I guess.
As you're coming up, it's going to instruct how you can... 4, 3, 2, 1,
I think we're finding, because a lot of people are healthier and fitter, they also think a lot better, and they're finding themselves a lot more convinced to do adventure sports than before. And then of course you have the soft core, a lot of cultural activities. People go on sunset cruises, elephant back rides, the flights over the falls in helicopters, microlights, ultralights. So we're going to visit a family here and see how the day-to-day living is. We also have a lot of cultural activities where we take people to a genuine, traditional African village. Quite an interesting historical point we're standing in right now. Each tourist that comes to the village will pay an entry fee. It's a very small entry fee, which the village has now created what they call a Mukuni Village Trust Fund. That money specifically goes into developing the village to give the villagers a much better life.
Twalumba means thank you. Twalumba.
The traditional safari is never going to die. It's been going on for years and years, since the Hemingway days. But because there are so many other adventure activities that have attracted the traveler. People are staying at least another couple of nights extra.
And this is your safety.
And what that did was brought on extra revenue at nights for restaurants and pubs, etc. A group of companies, we formed up what we call the Livingston Tourism Association. It's got website, brochures, and approaches selling Zambia as one uniform body. Relying on a tourism board is just not enough. Our sales outlet sells all tourism adventure activities that you find in Livingston Victoria Falls. We're selling it on behalf of the supplier of the activities. It's been very important for Touch Adventure to build these relationships with other companies because we realize further sales through commissions. And definitely you have to keep constant communication with travel agents. Well, we have to be extremely tight in our expenses. We have to be extremely tight in the operation. We have to really, really be tight, otherwise we'll have a problem. Part of the contribution factor is that there's a lot more operators than 5 years ago. There's so much more, probably tripled. So you're getting a lot more companies for the same number of bed nights, if you like. One of the most challenging things about adventure travel is you've got to have enough capital to actually buy the right equipment that offers the right safety. That's just the beginning. Now, bringing it in here, the freight costs, as well as the duty that you have to pay, maintaining that equipment, making sure that it's safe enough, really the costs just never seem to end. And of course, personnel, making sure that personnel understand exactly what we're trying to offer and the importance of making it work has certainly been quite a huge challenge. Guides, they have got to go through a thorough training on how to navigate the river. And as well as these guides are also sent on advanced first aid courses in the event of something happening in the gorge. And fortunately, with all the scenic flights that are offered around, the helicopters are always on standby for any emergency that may occur. Oh, insurance is a must-do. Historically, what has been the acceptable is $1 million coverage. Without that, travel agents are not very comfortable sending people out there. Corruption is one of the worst areas that slows a lot of things down because it's never direct. It took 8 months to actually register a company, to get all the documentation in order before I could even have a product on the ground. There is still a lot of work to be done in educating, I think, the government side of things. When they see tour operating companies, they immediately think, well, US dollars, so we're going to tax them quite heavily. Suddenly, park entry fees are changing without prior warning. We find that very disturbing because a lot of prepackaged tours are sold in advance, years in advance. But that is all starting to change. You're starting to see a lot of tax incentives, which I think is a very good approach to assisting more and more development of tourism. The future for adventure tourism within this area is certainly huge. But the more and more companies that are brought in here, the more and more noise pollution that you're going to experience. I think a certain study needs to be done in terms of regulating how this whole activities are operated or offered.
3, 2, 1, there you go.
Adventure tourism certainly, besides the obvious, brings global exposure that Africa is not as non-functional as some people perceive it. You can actually come out here and do have a glass of champagne if you like one.